The first scream shattered the silence of the hallway. Students froze mid-step, lockers half shut, books clutched to chests. By the time anyone understood what was happening, the scene was already unfolding in the middle of the corridor. 3 senior boys, towering and laughing cruelly, had their fists tangled in the long hair of the new teacher, Ms. Amina. They dragged her down the hall like a rag doll, while the sound of her heels scraped against the cold tile floor. It all happened in seconds, but for those watching, it felt like an eternity. Some students gasped, others pulled out their phones. No one stepped forward, and that's when the shame began. Ms. Amina had been at the school for only 2 weeks. She was young, just 26, and had that spark in her eyes teachers rarely carry after years of dealing with difficult classrooms. She greeted every student at the door, smiled even when they ignored her, and never raised her voice, no matter how much chaos filled the room. But that very gentleness, in a school where troublemakers thrived, painted a target on her back. The boys, Sami, Imran, and Kaleem, were the kings of mischief. They'd made veteran teachers cry, and most of the staff had learned to avoid confronting them directly. Ms. Amina, however, believed in second chances. She treated them kindly, thinking patience could break their walls. She didn't know yet kindness in the wrong eyes can be mistaken for weakness. To that day, she caught them skipping class, their sneakers squeaking as they lounged in the hall. She didn't scold them. She simply said, "You should be in class. Let's go." It was calm, almost too calm. Sami smirked. "And if we don't?" Her answer was steady. "Then I'll have to take you to the principal." The laughter that followed wasn't the kind you'd hear among friends. It was sharp, mocking. In a moment of reckless defiance, Sami reached forward, grabbed a handful of her hair and yanked. The others joined in, pulling and taunting, dragging her forward while she struggled to keep her balance. It wasn't just a prank, it was humiliation, deliberate, public, and cruel. The noise brought Mr. Kareem, the school's oldest teacher, running. His voice boomed, "Let her go." "No." The boys froze. His authority still carried weight, even with the worst students. They released her, and she stumbled into his arms, breathing hard, her face pale but her eyes refusing to cry. The incident should have ended there, with disciplinary action, suspension, maybe even expulsion. But something unexpected happened. Ms. Amina refused to press for punishment. "They need guidance, not revenge," she told the principal later. "If we only punish them, they'll leave here worse than they came." The staff was baffled. Parents were outraged. Students whispered about it in the hallways. Why wouldn't she fight back? Why protect the very people who hurt her? What no one knew was that Ms. Amina had her own history with bullies. Back in her school days, she'd been the quiet girl who was pushed into lockers and mocked for her clothes. No teacher had stepped in for her. No one had believed she could become more than the shy, overlooked girl in the corner. She wasn't about to repeat that mistake with her own students. Instead of reporting them to higher authorities, she did something unthinkable. She invited the 3 boys to help her with an after-school project. They laughed in her face at first, but when she offered free snacks, music, and a chance to skip detention, they agreed, if only to waste her time. That first afternoon, they sat slouched in chairs while she organized dusty books for the school's neglected reading corner. She didn't scold their laziness. She just kept working, talking to them about everything but school, sports, music, the food they liked. By the 3rd session, something began to change. Sami started stacking books without being asked. Imran shared a story about how his father left when he was little. Kaleem stayed behind after everyone left, quietly fixing a broken shelf. The turning point came 2 weeks later during a parent-teacher meeting. Sami's mother, a single parent juggling 3 jobs, broke down in front of Ms. Amina, confessing she didn't know how to control her son anymore. Sami, standing awkwardly behind her, looked at the floor the whole time. Amina didn't lecture. She simply said, "Sami's a leader. He just hasn't found the right thing to lead yet." For the first time in years, someone saw his potential instead of just his mistakes. 2 months passed, and the transformation was slow but real. The same boys who once dragged her by the hair began defending her when other students mocked her. They took charge of the reading corner, turning it into a lively space with colorful posters and beanbags. Sami started tutoring younger students in math. Imran joined the school's football team, began sketching murals for the library walls. The incident that once brought shame now became the foundation of change, not just for them, but for the entire school. Students saw that no one was beyond redemption if given patience, consistency, and belief. On the last day of the year, Ms. Amina found a small envelope on her desk. Inside was a note in messy handwriting. "We're sorry. You didn't just forgive us, you showed us we could be better. Thank you for not giving up." It was signed by Sami Imran, and as she smiled, tears blurring her vision. Not from pain this time, but from knowing that the cruel moment in the hallway had led to something far greater. Her name was Ms. Amina. Young, full of hope, and determined to make a difference. She greeted every student at the door. She smiled even when they ignored her. She believed no child was beyond saving. Meet Sami Imran and Kaleem, the kings of chaos. They made veteran teachers cry. They thrived on fear, and when Ms. Amina told them to get back to class, they decided to teach her a lesson. In an instant, Sami's fist tangled in her hair. The others joined in. They dragged her down the hall, mocking her, humiliating her. Students froze, some filmed. No one helped until